Shabbat Shalom, friends. This week's Torah portion is called Emor, and it is chock full of different variant ideas, all of which could fill years of study, this Sidra alone. But there's one particular aspect of this Torah portion that I want to draw your attention to, and that is hillul HaShem and kiddush HaShem. You're probably familiar with the latter, but not the former. The latter is kiddush HaShem, and what we do in normal parlance is we associate kiddush HaShem with giving up your life for God. People who died al kiddush HaShem, for the sake of God's name or for the sanctification of God's name. We call the victims of the Holocaust who died or were murdered. They died kiddush HaShem. But kiddush HaShem really is more than dying for God. It's also living for God, doing things for God's sake, even if it's not necessarily mandated by us. In fact, in the Torah reading, we find that Moses argues with God for the sake of people's salvation, for the sake of people's lives, for the sake of the goodness that he perceives. And earlier in the Torah, we found that Abraham argued for people whom he did not even know, for people who were utterly and utterly wicked. That's kiddush HaShem. Kiddush HaShem is doing things that God demands of us, and that God would want of us. God can't anticipate every event that's ever going to happen to us in our lives. So therefore, discretion is left up to us to choose good from bad. And when we don't choose right, when we don't choose kiddush HaShem, we choose hillul HaShem, desecration of God's name. Desecration of God's name, we don't really think of, if you've used it, hillul HaShem, you drop a siddur and you just pick it up. You don't kiss it. You drop something containing God's name, or you throw it, right? Treating clay kodesh, things that are of intrinsic holy status, as not holy. But kiddush HaShem is also more than that. Kiddush HaShem is elevating one another to a higher level. That we have that ability in every moment of our life to do and to be a kiddush HaShem, to say words of kindness, to not be rude, to elevate God, because you are, as a Jew, a representative of Judaism, of Jews, and of God always. Which is how the Torah reading splays itself out. Ultimately, if you look at the foundation of this Torah reading, Emor, it's talking about the differentiation between kiddush HaShem and hillul HaShem. Every day, every hour, or even every moment, we're called upon to make that decision of being a kiddush HaShem maker or a hillul HaShem maker. We craft the world, don't we? By our actions, by our words, by our posture, by our gestures, by everything that we do. Make of yourself a kiddush HaShem. Shabbat Shalom.